Thank you for visiting my channel, Thinking Like a Virtuous Woman, where I inspire women to think like the woman in Proverbs 31, both spiritually and financially. So I recently posted a video of my top 5 Bible verses, and I will link that below and somewhere up here so you can check that out when you get a chance. And one of the most common questions that I always hear is, how do you even read the Bible? So if you are new to Christ, or maybe even been to church all your life but never really been able to get into the Bible, I understand if you have a hard time getting into it, because I remember being there. And I'm going to just share a few things that were helpful for me. And the first thing that I'm going to share with you is reading a Bible storybook. Now, this Bible storybook is a book that I got some years ago, and I actually used to read it with my daughter. Now, I had actually read a Bible storybook as a teenager, and because I read a Bible storybook, I was already familiar with a lot of the stories in the Bible. Like, I remember reading about Noah and the ark and the animals, and I remember reading about Joseph and his brothers, and reading about Jesus and how he died on the cross for us. So when I became an adult, it made me want to read the Bible because I wanted to read those stories in more depth, right? So this Bible storybook, my daughter and I, we actually read through it several times. And as you can see, it's kind of coming apart because it's just been through so much. And it took us a long time. It took us, I don't remember exactly how long, but it took a few months to actually read through this entire book. We would read a story a night. And the first time we read through it, I actually read everything. And then the second time we went through it, we alternated. So if I read one night, she would read the next night. And the cool thing about this book is that it has like questions, and it has like activities for you to do. And then there's a prayer that you can pray. So I believe that even as an adult, you are never too old for a Bible storybook. You got to do what works for you. If reading a Bible storybook is going to help you get into the Bible and help you to understand the Bible more, hey, I say go for it. And the next thing that I'm going to share with you is, I think you should download a Bible app if you haven't already. Now, I use the YouVersion Bible app, and I love it because there's so many different plans and so many different devotionals that you can do in there. I mean, if you want to read about love, there's devotionals on love and scriptures to match that devotional. And then if maybe you're struggling with anxiety or even depression, there's scriptures dealing with that. If you just want to know how to grow closer to God and how to spend time with him, there are devotionals on that. I mean, there's so many things. If you're happy, if you're sad, I mean, anything you can think of, there is a plan and a devotional on the YouVersion Bible app for you. Now, there are other Bible apps. I haven't tried them. I just happen to love the YouVersion Bible app, and I definitely recommend downloading it. You can download it on your smartphone or either your iPad or your tablet. So the next thing I suggest is that you read in a simple translation that you can understand. Now, I read in King James Version, I read a New King James Version, and I read a New Living Translation. Now, if I'm reading the Bible through from Genesis, I tend to read in a more simple translation like New Living Translation, because it's easier for me to just read right through it. Now, if I ever want to cross-reference, then I'll go to King James Version or maybe New King James Version. Now, I do recommend that you do some research on your translation that you choose, because you want to make sure that it's accurate. Like, it's so many translations out there, and you just want to make sure that you're not just picking up anything and reading it. Because I've come across some translations that were actually missing entire Bible verses. And I mean, like 2 or 3 Bible verses at a time were just gone from those translations, which I didn't understand. So I definitely recommend researching. Maybe people you know, ask them what translation they read in. And then you may find that you may find a translation that you actually prefer. Like, I may like New Living Translation, but then you may go find another translation that you prefer over that one. So definitely just do your research and take the time to figure out which one is best for you. So the next thing that I'm going to share with you is, I think you should start to read the Gospels, the life of Jesus. This was suggested to me when I was a babe in Christ, and I'm so happy that I did. So reading the Gospels, and if you don't know, the Gospels start in the New Testament, starting with the book of Matthew. You have the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they're all detailing the life of Jesus from his birth to his death and resurrection. Now, when I read those books and I think about that quote, what would Jesus do? Like, I literally asked myself that question after reading the Gospels, because I felt like I knew him. I felt like I knew what he would say, what he would do, what he would want me to do. So I definitely recommend that, to get to know to get to know Jesus and read about his life, and then just see where the Lord leads you to read from there. And the last thing that I'm going to share with you is to join a Bible study. Now, if you're already a member of a church, most likely they're already having Bible study once a week. I definitely think you should go. And if not, if you don't belong to a church, or maybe if your church don't do weekly Bible studies, I think you should get with some kind of community, even if you join a group on Facebook, or if you find a local Bible study that you can just go to and get with other believers, so that you guys can read together and study, and you can ask questions and just answer those hard questions. When you're reading through, there's going to be some things that you don't understand. And when you are reading in a group session, a lot of times you guys can talk and kind of pull from each other and learn together. So I definitely recommend to go to a Bible study. If you can't physically go to one every week, like I said, join one online, and maybe even connect with people in your area. Okay, so I hope that the content in this video was helpful to you today. And as always, feel free to reach out for any prayer requests, any questions, any suggestions. I will link my email down below in the description box for you. And again, thank you so much for visiting my channel, Thinking Like a Virtuous Woman, where I inspire women to think like the woman in Proverbs 31, both spiritually and financially. Be blessed.